Well, hi there, racing fans, and welcome to another edition of Winning Ways, where I've got the only Manchester United supporter left in the hot seat, and you seem to be flying, you boys.
Yeah, good here. It's going good. I'm just panicking a bit for tonight. We've got three big players not playing, and we're taking on Chelsea in the FA Cup. I'd like to see us go through, but yeah, it's going to be interesting.
What actually happened with the Russians last week?
Gee, what a terrible track they played on.
Oh, was that the track's fault?
Oh, it was absolutely shocking, and kicking over and above, but 1-1 draw again. I didn't think it was a very good performance from both of the sides. The Russians were diving all over the show and flying on the floor, and the pitch wasn't very good, as I even said beforehand.
We've been talking about rugby sevens, and we got beaten in the final by England.
Yeah, England won 2 finals there, South Africa 4, so we definitely had a good force there. It was great rugby this weekend. After racing on Friday night, I watched Wales playing Ireland. They gave Ireland a proper hiding, and a side to watch, and it's going to be interesting. You know, the rugby's, it's all happening. The Sharks are playing world-class rugby, I think, with the youngsters in there. So there's great sport on at the moment.
Well, it's great to see the Sharks up there, and hopefully we'll get some full stadiums, again. That's we want to get the people out there.
Yeah, well, I think they're at home again next week or soon. They had a big, nice crowd there on Saturday night. So, yeah, interesting. I think the crowds will be back.
I'm worried about my team. Our manager seems to be in the bad books of everyone. Poor Arsenal boys. We're getting whipped by everyone.
I heard him on the radio, I think this morning. He's hoping that he gets his job back. They want him out, unfortunately. I mean, he's been there ages and he hasn't won a trophy.
Well, we had the chance of buying Ibrahimovic.
Yeah.
2 years we've been chasing him, and he said he's too old. Actually, I'd like to have a guy like him too old.
Absolutely, yeah. He's 35 years old.
He's changed your team.
Absolutely, he's brilliant. He's a goal scorer, and that's what we're looking for.
Okay, well, we've got a full show ahead of us. We're going to be chatting to Graham Hawkins in your call, because they just had a Bosparat up at in the Midlands chatting about how they're going to sort out Gold Circle and what's going to happen. So there's probably a lot of new interesting information there. We're going to try and get Mike de Kock on the phone, because we've got 2 weeks to go to World Cup night, and we want to find out about his season. And we've got lots to chat about, but let's go and have a look at 3 to follow. Right, well, let's go to Kenilworth, and we started with the first race, 1,200 metres, maiden juvenile plate for the fillies, and we picked up a filly here, the stable companion to the winner, ended up running a cracking fourth, beautifully bred, and Joey Ramsden won the race. He's got some nice babies, but his babies do come on, so let's go and have a look at Dynasty's Bloom by Dynasty, out of Crimson Blossom by Daniel Dancer. What a pedigree and what a lovely filly. Let's go and pick her up there, Kev.
Yeah, James, R4.5 million touch from the CTS sales, but John Magner's colours really comes out not well, but I mean just Grand Finica just pops it in behind, gives it a little bit of a shake up to get it in the race, and like you said, she's so well bred, it's scary, but the eventual winner is in the pink colours, about 2 lengths in front. That was the stable companion with Donovan Dillon on, and out the picture at the moment, James, but just getting scrubbed along every now and again. Grant's giving a tap down the shoulder, you see, and she slowly starts coming into the race.
Yeah, I think that this was a cracking good run, because here she looks well. She's going to move into contention, and the winner's directly in front of her. You'll see the winner gets pulled out a little bit, which she just seems to like falter there, doesn't she? She might be short of a bit of room.
Yeah, you find that with the first timers, James, you might be just a little bit nervous to go in there, but Grant doesn't really give her a hard ride. He just keeps her going, and she's coming at the finish, and you can just see the action on her is just absolutely phenomenal. And like you say, I think it'll be a very, very hard horse to beat next time. I'd like to see it go a little bit further, because a Kenilworth 6, you can win a race like that with a first timer, but the way it's bred, I think the 14 mile will be a race over next time.
Interesting, bred by Highlands and Georgina Jaffe, so they're in partnership with it, and the team own it. Main Chance bought into it with the Magners, Mayfair Speculators, all the best people in
very nice
the
to see those colours on our tracks, the good old John Magna and the Coolmore colours.
All dark blue.
All dark blue. They're very, very famous colours, and a lot of people have chased them around the tracks in the world.
Well, I reckon they'll be chasing this one around next time it runs. Have a very close look at the filly Dynasty's Bloom. The next one for your notebook, we go to race 7 at Turfentine, also on Saturday, and there was a Ruffian Stakes, 1,000 metres, and Alec Laird stepped out a first-timer by a horse Chestnut over 1,000 metres, and we thought it ran a pretty good race. Let's go and look at Kenna.
Yeah, they were drawn 7, Mr. Gerber's colours. If I recall, this one was also a little bit sluggish out. First time was sluggish out like that, James. You can see on the back foot from the jump like that. It's tailed off last now. And yeah, I think a very, very nice horse. By horse Chestnut, I would be looking for a little bit further as well. But yeah, the Callum's not very aggressive on it. Just let her find her feet. Also a lovely action horse. There was a hot pot favourite in this race. I think it was Samanga Kamala, wasn't it?
Kissable, Randall Simons has won. Matchets had won his first 2 very easily, and it was followed by the other 2-time winner from 2 starts, which is a homebred Daring Diva, owned by Mr. Khalil, and Baron Boertes trained it. And he bred this, Mr. Khalil, and I must tell you, it won a bloody good race, but Kissable just died to nothing, which was very disappointing.
Yeah, that went right at the back door. Right on the outside comes the number 8, Kenna, running on very nicely. I mean, for a first-timer against 2 and 3 times, well, the winner now is a 3-time winner, I think a very good run.
Perfect. That looked like 2 certainly well worth having a look at. Then we went to Scottsville, where most of you didn't see the racing because it wasn't on Teletrack. Unfortunately, there was Neotel let us down with their equipment, and it was perfectly recorded, as you'll see, by our team here, Raymond Rogers and his team. Let's go and see On the Bounce in the second race by Curve Ball out of a Captain mare, bred by Anton Proctor. Mayfair Speculators bought it. Interesting Curve Ball, bred by Anton Proctor. He's a very good breeder. And the Eustis bought it back. And it looks like it can run, this filly. Anton Marcus rode it from the outside draw at Scottsville. Let's go and have a look.
Yeah, James, you know, the outside draw was always known to be a little bit of a biased. The track was never the best out there, but Anton stays right on the outside. Shows a lot of pace. Typical Charlie Laird horse. They get taught properly, and I think Anton's just about nearly in front halfway through the race, and doesn't look like it's very green or anything, but racing all on his own on the outside. You can see just in the picture on the right-hand side. Anton, you'll see, he moves up virtually into contention now.
Well, you won't get it, but the horse in the pink ended up winning. That's Simply Scrumptious. That's Laf's horse, was start of a 3-timer for him. Fantastic for him. And I must tell you, owned by our mate Neil Loudon, and they bred it together, these two. And this filly, we picked it up as one to follow last time, and she won a really gutsy race. She's on the left-hand side, right in the middle of the course is the horse that we picked up. It looks like it's in front at this moment On the Bounce.
It looks like it's going to actually win, James, and I think it just might have run out a little bit of puff at the end. And here comes Cuzzies also on the inside. They would have been, I saw he was there at the races. It's lovely, great man of the racing. And yeah, On the Bounce, I think with that run now under its belt, could be a hard horse to beat next time.
Definitely, and seeing we picked up the other one last time, we should have had a bet on that. So these horses are worth putting into a black book and
just following
keeping an eye on them, because a lot of winners come out of this. We worked out the other day that we're running at about 64% win next time out.
That's good. That's very good. That's
not bad at all.
It's a good strike rate.
And they go in at a good price. This thing went in at about 7-2.
Yeah, good price.
Cuzzies horse. So you can get busy. We're going to move on. We're going to have a look at the Horse Chestnut Stakes after we've taken a break.
Gates crash open and they're racing, and Ice Machine has lost 4 lengths. Legal Eagle and Diesel Jet both landed running. Up there too is Africa Burn. He's committing from a deep draw to race in the firing line. New Predator is fourth early on. Captain American is locked in a good position against the rail. The blue body and pink cap with Light the Way for company. A further length back to halve the deficit. Bezanova, they travel together. Then comes Captain Aldo, and a slow pace has allowed Ice Machine to catch up. There's 10 lengths in it as they head towards the final 1,000 metres, and Legal Eagle is setting his own pace. He's a length in front of Africa Burn. Diesel Jet races at the rail in third with New Predator at his outside. A further length back to Captain America. Then came Light the Way. Bezanova's 3/4 of the way back. Then comes half the deficit. One from last, Ice Machine. And finally Captain Aldo. At the top of the straight in the HF Oppenheimer Horse Chestnut Stakes, and Legal Eagle has guarded them for home. He's a length and a half in front. New Predator very quick to get a move on, and New Predator has taken over the lead, and he's gone very early in doing so. Second place now Legal Eagle. Then comes Captain America. He's tried to set sail for this leader. Further back then to Africa Burn, Light the Way and Diesel Jet, but New Predator getting into the final 250 metres has a 2-length advantage. Legal Eagle is still right there. He's lurking around and he's got dead aim. Legal Eagle gets his prey, and he's going on to win this to prove that Turfentine is his home. Legal Eagle far too good. What a win. Captain America second. New Predator did everything he could. He's run third.
Okay, we're getting ready to look for these big races, and Legal Eagle, I suppose he'll be back there again this year to defend his crown.
Definitely. Anton Marcus at his best. Even the commentator picked it up. I think Gavin went a little bit early on New Predator, but he got everybody to wake up. They just didn't let him get clear. They all chased him, and yeah, a top ride from Anton and a top horse, Legal Eagle. And like Alistair said there, he's a very good horse at Turfentine.
Captain America ran second.
Great horse. I'm sure he'll be for the Durban season to tackle the July. Must probably be aiming at the July.
Going to be a race and a half. Let's go and have a look at the Plum of the Week. We've got a very interesting one this week, because this you had to back.
Ideal Jewel looking to unwind extreme outside, 5 to make up. Fontaine at the 250 metre marker. Adjudicators towards the inside. Ideal Jewel's looking to run on. Palace Mystery, 150 to go. I can tell you Ideal Jewel's picking up with Under the Rose. Ideal Jewel comes flying on the outside. Under the Rose, the insider. Big win for Ideal Jewel. Under the Rose second, Likely Story, and First Anthem.
Well, the filly was bred by the Latter Foster Partnership, and those guys, they've got this mare. She put it to Ideal World, produced this filly, and I can tell you halfway around the turn, Kev, if you backed this, you absolutely had no chance. Seanville was scrubbing his head off.
Well, I did back it and, with my son, and I went upstairs to watch it, and I said at the 800 metre mark, good night, nurse. It was off the bit, completely wide. Everything was, nothing was going its way, and halfway down the straight, I thought, no, we've got half a chance now, and it really picked up well. And I saw Sean speaking to Mr. Dreyer afterwards, and he said she was so lost. You'll see next time. I think this horse, I think you could just follow this in its next start. He said it just didn't know what to do.
Well, if you had an interbet account, you could have got 3-1 to start with this horse, and you could have got 15 to 10, 18 to 10 at any stage.
Yeah, 16 to 10 on course was available, and I think it started 11 to 10 on course. But a lot of guys were on her.
On Interbet, you could have got the better price all the way through, and that was the whole game. Because these guys, they're not punters; they're polo players. These two.
Yeah, they were here too. They were excited as hell. So yeah, it was fantastic to see them here. So it was, especially when you breed it yourself. I think that's
you got to wait all those years, then end up coming to the races on a Friday night and winning a race. Yeah. They were here last time she ran at Scottsville with their kids from school.
That's correct.
And I'm very pleased to see it win. So that was the Plum of the Week. We're going to have a look at current affairs.
Yes. If you love soccer and you play the tote, you won't believe what Interbet has to offer you, or the excitement of tote betting on your computer or your cell phone. It's simple. Choose your teams and your bets, work out what your combinations will cost, see how big the pool is, and place your bets. You can even track your bet live as it happens and get updates on your progress. It's all the fun of the tote on your phone. So what are you waiting for? Sign up now at www.interbet.co.za and you could be a winner.
Well, current affairs, and we got some very interesting stuff. We're trying to get hold of Mike de Kock on the line, but the first thing, Muzieni went to Greece. Yeah, I hope he took Johnny Giroudis with him.
Yeah, and as you said, he had a winner as well. But interesting, it's very good for any jockey to go and ride on different tracks, James. They're all different, and it's the experience and the travelling and everything. It's good fun. I mean, I went to China when they had a carnival meeting there. And we had so much rain the day before, we thought we weren't going to have the race meeting. But we carried on, but we just went around the puddles.
How are the horses in China?
Was a lot of the Coolmore throwouts, all very well bred in that, but just weren't too good. And they sent I think that's about 700 there to go and race to try and get them going. But China's up and running now. That was just a carnival meeting. We went with quite a few of us, Gavin Lorena, Tex Lorena, Robin Bruss. We all went a long way, James. China.
Well, these guys apparently had a South African race day there in Greece, and it was at the Marco Polo racetrack in Athens. And John Stewart, is the head of international. That's correct, his team went and they sponsored a few races. And by all accounts, wonderful PRO job for South African racing. And when Muzi goes and wins a race, Muzi's a celebrity.
He's a celebrity. He's a celebrity in Kimberley as well, because he rides 3 or 4 winners there just about every week. But
absolutely amazing. Right, well, we got Mike de Kock on the line, so let's have a chat with him when he is ready. Mike, are you there? Hello, Mike. Oh, that's nice. Hello, Mike. Can you hear us? Hello, Mike. Can you hear us?
James, yeah, you're very faint.
Yeah, very faint. I feel like fainting. I hope you're not fainting. I hope you're giving that pikey something to go on with.
I faint to the left and hit to the right, James.
So you gave him one of the solar plexus. That's always a good start with Fallon.
Yeah.
How's Kieran and how's the team there?
No, going well. We're on the course at the moment.
Well, I can tell you, I've got a man.
Got them on the carpet.
Okay, that's what I like to hear. I've got a man here who's green with envy. Kevin Shea, he says that he should be there. He says you dumped him too early.
How's it, Mark? How are you going?
Oh, Shea, yeah. Kev, how's it going?
Good, man, good. Mark, what we're actually going to have a chat about, we know it's 2 weeks to the World Cup now. I'm sure the racing fans would like to know, more or less, how many runners you're going to have on the night. I mean, there's a big contingent coming with a full Georgia. Definitely one in the World Cup. Anything else?
One, and Fowry, we've got Milan coming out tomorrow. If he can get him through the gates, then he runs in the Derby.
That's fantastic. He looks like he seems to love the dirt as well.
No, he's a proper horse. He's a good horse, but he's got rocks in his head.
Yeah, we saw him last time with Bernard. He doesn't give you much time in the gates to think about anything.
Nah, he anticipates the hood coming off. You see, so we've got to try and calm him down so he doesn't have to have the hood. He does everything right until that 2 seconds before they pull the gates.
Mark, did they suspend him, or did they, or because in Durban they would suspend him and then you've got to repass and go through the whole procedure again?
Yeah, no, he's got to repass. He's got to get another ticket, that's for sure.
So it's a chance to take him in the gates again. I hope he doesn't hurt himself. Yeah. And it's a issue that people don't really realise, that every time you're sticking his horses in the gates, especially the mad ones, there's a chance of things going wrong.
No, 100%. And you're right in front of the grandstand, the speakers, the shouting, screaming. You got
that's World Cup. That
people clapping, whistling.
Yeah, and it's
makes it even more punchy.
Yeah, and it's a big night and a lot of people there. It's not easy. Yeah. And Mark, tell me, after the World Cup, are any of these horses you planning on Hong Kong, Singapore, or America, or anything? Is it just
nothing, Kevin? Nothing. I don't know what Mukti. I'm not keen to send him to America again. I'd rather just rest him. That's if they want to have a go at the World Cup again next year. But I don't know. It'll be up to.
And Mark, and he's doing well. Are you happy with him?
Advisors. Doing very well.
Oh, that's
Extremely
fantastic.
well. I mean, I'd love to have had 2 runs into the World Cup for sure.
Yeah.
But it just didn't work out that way. You know, the horse came back late from America, and he wasn't moving well when he got back. But
Yeah, people don't.
what I've seen, I'm very, very happy now with what I've seen. It's
Yeah,
very
people don't realise that little time span for the carnival. You got one throw of the dice, and if something like goes amiss or they come late, it's a headache. So
Yeah.
people don't
You
realise
can't have
that.
a day, not a day that you
Yeah,
does it well.
exactly.
Mike, just chatting about a nice winner last week. I see Syncopation won for you. We don't know him,
Yes.
or do we know him?
It's just a horse of Mally Al-Basti he bought to me from England. He's a maiden, you know, he's got a couple of wins.
Oh, good.
He was trained in England.
Yeah, the jockey was quite complimentary about him. And just talking about your season so far, this normal sort of season, you had 7 winners, you've had half your horses in the money from 79 runners, and you've earned 3 million already. So, you know, it looks like it's going okay, but I just get the feeling that with a bit of luck, things could have been a bit better.
Oh, yeah, you know, and a lot of injuries as well, James, you know. But to be honest, we didn't really have the stock bar 1 or 2 this year. So just one of those years, you know.
Yeah.
The dirt's obviously changed everything.
Yeah, that horrible dirt track. That's you see some of those horses.
We travelled late this year. We got in here about 2.5, 3 weeks later as well, which absolutely kills you. That's game over when that happens.
Well, listen, we're going to let you carry on. Thank you very much. And just big congratulations. Shout out to you and your team on the 3,000 winner mark. It was absolutely fantastic.
Thanks very much, James.
Okay, cheers, Mark.
Ciao.
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 Right, Mike de Kock on the phone. Very interesting, Kev. About how difficult this whole thing is. And we always chat about it. And, you know, he's wonderful. He always comes to the party, chats to us, doesn't matter what he's doing. He just drops everything and chats to us. And, you know, this is like 11:30 on a Monday morning there. His morning's over, but and he's very accommodating.
Yeah, I must be honest. He's a breath of fresh air to listen to. The racing public, people don't really realise there you got 3 months of racing, and as he says, he comes in there 2.5 weeks late. The track he said he's working on is absolutely a nightmare compared to Godolphin and them on their tracks. They're separate. They don't train. They train on a private
No, they train
track.
in their place in town.
Yeah,
which is beautiful.
Not just in town. They got on the farm as well, where out in the desert they got a big setup there as well with tracks and everything. And Mark, like he says, 2.5 weeks. People don't realise 2.5 weeks late walking into Dubai. You're going in there. These guys' horses are virtually 100% fit. They've been racing in the pre-carnival, as I call it. It's they start racing, getting them runs under the belt, and
Jebel Ali and Abu Dhabi and
also in Maidan. They race there in Maidan early on, only for dirhams, but it's still they're preparing those horses to see what can happen in the carnival. And you have an injury, you're gone, James. That's the end. Like he says, he's had Mubtaj 1 run. You'd like to have given him 2. There's no time. You can't all of a sudden just throw him in 10 days later, and then 2 weeks later he's in the World Cup. So he's going to have to work these horses, and it's not easy. No front go went wrong. Light the lights. Mark's doesn't even mention him for the World Cup night. Maybe not good enough. I mean, there's a French horse that Christophe Soumillon rode last time.
Varazbard or whatever.
No, it's like Zakar or something. It's out of Zakava.
Oh yeah, no, that's the one.
That's it. It's very, very good horse. And Trevor Brown told me that Christophe says this is a real top horse, and he'll line up in the duty free. And I think
well, they won it last year with the grey horse Solo. You know, he ended up the best horse in Europe.
That's 100%. So they'll line him up in the duty free. Also, had 1 run. Now going into the big race, the duty free is not 1777 anymore. Now it's 1800 meters, and that track, although it's a desert, that track's got a lot of grass on it, and it's quite heavy. So I think a hard horse to beat in the duty free from what I've watched in the carnival.
It's always fascinating. I'm going because I want to go and see Arrogate. You know, he's coming for the World Cup, and to get a chance to go and see him, and you can fly into Dubai and watch a horse like that racer. It's got to be worthwhile. You know, it costs $4,000 for an air ticket. You can go to Cape Town for the weekend for $4,000.
100%. Yeah, no, and just to see him in flesh and walk around the parade ring or something like that. I used to love it, even if I wasn't riding in the World Cup. I used to always go into the parade ring just to see those horses. I mean, Maglia Diora, he was 560 kilos or something.
How about California Chrome? We were there. We brought back all the footage.
Yeah.
We'll do it again this year. This year we're going to. I've got a proper production team going with me this year. we're going to produce a whole lot of footage.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know why Raymond thinks that's funny.
Yeah, you're gonna get a ping in your ear for that. But
I've got it already.
yeah. So anyway, yeah, that World Cup night is it is the Olympics of racing, the top of the best, and Ali El Rai's got a sprinter. I think has won 3 in a row there. That'll be going for the turf sprint. He's some special horse too. So it's a lovely meeting. It's a lovely day. Unfortunately, it's just a bit of a long day. You know, it's racing only starts I think at 5:30. But I mean, the whole day it's a long day. By the time you finish there, and then you got to stand in queues to get to the bus to get out of there. I mean, there's how many people go there? 70, 80, 90,000 people. It's chock-a-block.
And then they have the concert afterwards.
I don't know who's playing this year.
Apparently, I think they've got Pink playing this year.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's what I heard by I've been trying to find out who's going, but
They try and keep it a secret.
We don't have to wait for the concert because we have that braai up on the roof, and whoever's
they're rehearsing the day before.
For an hour and a half while we're having the braai on the roof. You know, so the South Africans get unbelievably well looked after
spoiled,
there with Phil Georgia and the team. Just talking about the desert. Neil Bruss had a Group 1 winner there. They won the equivalent of the July, the King's Cup, which was fantastic.
Yeah, that is the main race of the actual season. They always try and win the King's Cup because it's the president. I think they call it the President's Cup or something. So and Neil won it with an oratorio. So fantastic.
Well, we've got to take a break. Apparently, Raymond tells me we've done our 15-minute slots. So let's take a break. Well, Kev, getting back to this horse that won the King's Cup is by oratorio, you're saying?
Fantastic, yeah. So
that's Pippa's.
That's Pippa. And she was quick to put it on the social media. So well done to her. I mean, Pippa's a great person, and they breed some good horses come out of that stud farm, and it's a lovely place.
Just talking about it, there's one oratorio on the Mystico Sale on the 16th of March down in Cape Town. And then obviously the Cheltenham Festival, is coming up.
Something special at 60, 80,000 people every day in the freezing cold, and great racing. Great. I love watching the Cheltenham Festival. When we were in Dubai, we used to all go to the clubhouse and they used to show it live, and it's just brilliant.
Have you ever been?
No, I've never been. My son's been. He says when they start the first race of the first day, he says you want to cry. There's just a roar from the crowd, and it's just, he says you're 10, 20, 30 deep near the race course. He says there's just thousands and thousands and thousands of people. I think they have 7 races every day. You can't do all 4 days. He says your liver wasn't handled.
Well, I've done all 4 days a number of times. But it is really tiring. It's a fantastic.
Yeah.
I've been lucky enough to be in a box.
Well, if you can get in a box, that's probably the best, because then you can sit, you can watch it on the TV, you can actually look out the balcony and see those. I mean, it's a great race course.
Box on the finish line we had.
Oh, even better. So you saw everything.
And to go and get a bet on. There's hundreds of bookmakers there, but to get through the crowd,
no, you can't. It's just too many people.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I love that footage they show you from the air. Just thousands of people.
Well, I was walking through the crowd the one year, and I got a tap on my shoulder. It was my old governor, the guy I first worked for in England, Toby Balding, who was
fantastic.
A champion trainer. He said to me, "What are you going to back?" So I said, "Well, I'm going to back this." So he said, "Well, can't tell you anything here, but the next race, have a bet on this horse." He told me some horse.
Was it his horse or not? I know, he had the inside information.
I got the info at 1.
Yeah, the bookmakers, they can take a knock in Cheltenham. I remember last year there was an odds-on favourite in the one race, and the first time in Cheltenham the sun was shining, and it was clear, and the last jump it came in, and the shadow from the jump, it jumped too early and caught its legs, and I think it was Ruby Welsh. On the odds-on favourite, the bookmakers.
Yes, that's right. And it's right. Was the Irish horse?
And it fell.
The Irish filly.
Yeah, she jumped.
She was going for 3 in a row, I think, to win that race.
Yeah, and Ruby Welsh, I think he was going for 5 on the day or something. And I mean, they would have stuck the bookmakers out. And she jumped too early and clipped the thing and fell. And I think the bookmakers were all happy. But I mean, that's Cheltenham for you.
Funny enough, one of the bookmakers always pays you out if the horse falls at the last.
Oh, is that so?
One of the bookmaking firms in England pays you out if the horse that you backed falls at the last.
Well, it's the same as Hollywood. Yeah, if you lose on objection, they give you your money back.
They give you your money back.
I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. which is great. So Cheltenham's well worth having a look at. We'll be on our screens here. We'll be able to see it all 4 days. What else we got here? All the jockeys. Talk about them. They all shave their hair off.
All shave their hair for Alistair Cohn.
Well done.
Yeah, very good. Good incentive. I've been reading on social media that Alistair's...
The Cape Town boys, I think it was Aldo, but he hasn't got much hair anyway.
Yeah, Cape Town, and they said Johnny Gerudis can do it as well, but he's got no hair, so he's already in front. And yeah, great support. And I saw a picture of Alistair. He's lost a bit of weight, but his scan came back as an improvement. He's positive now, so it looks like we're going to have Alistair back on the race course.
And Gareth Pepper from wherever he is, I think he's
Singapore.
Singapore. Yeah. Is he still in Singapore?
Yeah, he's still in Singapore. Yeah.
He shaved his hair off too.
Fantastic.
It improved him an immense amount. I'm very
Sure.
pleased to see that he's starting to look reasonably good looking. Anyway, what else we got here? We got Shaman's Ghost, one big cap they call it, Santa Anita Handicap.
America, yes.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Very big Group 1 race at Santa Anita.
10 furlongs.
Yeah, they call it the big cap. Jimmy Jerkins, his father was a very good polo player, Harold Jerkins.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And funny enough, played against him in my youth. The big, strong man.
Xavier Costello, wasn't it?
Yeah, Castellano.
Castellano, yeah.
He won it for Frank Stronach. There's a very interesting article we go on social media just talking about Stronach and the Stronach group on how they put together this Pegasus World Cup and how they planned it and what they did, and it's reached, thousands and thousands.
Is this the one that you pay R1 million to get a run?
$1 million.
$1 million.
Yeah. That's what Arrogate won the other day. Beat the thing. But it's a very interesting article. If you go onto the racing web pages, I'm not sure, but I saw it on TDN. Go and have a look at it. Air Force Blue, talking about stallions. We said last week American Pharaoh's going to Australia. Air Force Blue going to Australia as well. So
where is Air Force Blue now actually at the moment?
He's at Coolmore in Ireland,
yeah.
and he will shuttle to Australia for the Australian season. So he's standing now covering mares, and then in July, at the end of when
you have northern and southern hemisphere.
Straight down to Australia, and no quarantine, get him into the barn, start covering mares in Australia.
See the difference with them, they can just do that. Us poor South Africans takes us forever.
Well, that's why, we have Magic Millions, and we go to the Magic Million sales, and LAF's there at the moment. I was just reading this morning, they're obviously halfway through the first day. Their figures are up, and they're going very well, the Adelaide Magic Million sales. So that's good news. Next week we'll have all the information. LAF will have it all.
Yeah, that'll be fantastic. Yeah.
But this is what they do. They shuttle these horses. That seems to be it as far as our current affairs is concerned. And Kev, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. Just hope everything goes well.
The other thing, John Gosden.
OBE.
OBE. You know what OBE stands for?
No, you're going to tell me.
Other buggers' efforts.
John Gosden.
You know who told me that? Terry Payne, because he won an MBE. So you know what the MBE stands for? No. My bloody efforts.
Okay. That's Terry Payne. A good Southampton supporter.
Well done to him. Well done to John Gosden. Yeah. And we'll be back with Graham Hawkins in a moment. Right, well, here we go. As promised to you, we've had Mike de Kock, which was entertaining. And we've got another entertaining gentleman with us, none other than Graham Hawkins. Nice to have you with us in the show, Graham.
Thank you, James. Thanks for bringing me on board again. I hope I can be as entertaining as Mike de Kock, although that's a very difficult ask.
Well, no, he's
Especially when he's in the right mood.
Yeah, he just gave us a breakdown and a build-up of World Cup coming up, and obviously all that. That's what it was all about. But I'm surprised you can actually talk after auctioning all these horses last week. Geez, how many do you auction? About 140 at a time?
Yeah, well, we had about 110, I think, at Summerhill, and then another 140 at Shongweni. But that was like 2 weeks ago, so the voice has recovered well, and we've got sales this week down in Cape Town at Mystico, a new venue for the BSA sale, and then at Durbanville CTS. It's 2 days there, Saturday night, Sunday. So we've got Thursday, Saturday night, Sunday. At least the sales are coordinated in a way that allows us to travel in and out, and that goes for all of the stakeholders as well, owners, trainers, and so on. So I think another weekend of good selling.
All right, well, you've been cruising around, and you've just had I like to call it a Bosparade, up in the Midlands, where all the senior management got together, Gold Circle, to strategize. Apparently you boys have got a whole lot of plans.
Well, James, we're facing some serious challenges, not only as Gold Circle, but the racing industry at large and the breeding industry at large. Tote revenues have plummeted. They're not just down, they've actually plummeted since 1 August. And while we've always known that over time the totalisator revenue is going to decline in real terms, and that Gold Circle, I'll talk on behalf of Gold Circle rather than the rest of the industry, has to find ways of reducing its dependency on the tote, I think the rapidity of the sudden drop from 1 August onwards has caught all of us by surprise. Countrywide, the turnover has come down between 10 and 15%. Now, that's quite a sharp decline. Over the last number of years prior to that, totalisator revenues have remained either flat or grown at maybe 2% per annum, but clearly in real terms have been declining. And so many years ago, I go back 8-9 years ago, Gold Circle, in terms of its strategy going forward, recognized that we have to reduce our dependency on the totalisator revenue, which for so many years has been the lifeblood of the operators. And from pretty much 100% dependency on the tote, over time, we've reduced that to about 54%, but clearly that is not enough. And so last week, we, as the executive management, together with the full board of Gold Circle, came together to discuss ways and means of looking into the future as to how we could further reduce Gold Circle's dependency on the tote and encourage other revenue streams. And clearly, the fixed odds business and betting on numbers and betting on sports is a growing market, whereas the totalisator itself worldwide is a reducing market. So we have to reposition ourselves. So we went and had the strategy session against the background of a title called Gold Circle Re-Engineered, and we recognise that there's got to that some radical changes have to come in order for us to achieve our purpose. The purpose of Gold Circle remains unchanged, and that is to ensure the sustainability of horse racing in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. So wherever the money comes from, wherever we can find additional revenue streams, they'll have one purpose in mind, and that's to support horse racing in KwaZulu-Natal. So we spent a day and a half looking at all possibilities. As you know, Gold Circle has a very strong balance sheet, but this year, from a trading perspective, we're very much in the negative. And it's unlikely that we can turn that around this financial year, which ends on the 31st of July, despite the fact that we've got champion season coming through, and we're hopeful that we'll see totalisator revenue starting to climb a little bit. Would never happen in time for us to rescue this current financial year. So we're looking forward and we're looking ahead and exploring what opportunities there may be for Gold Circle, and perhaps some of it might require for that very strong balance sheet to be used to more aggressively produce revenues for Gold Circle.
What you're telling me immediately begs a question. There's been talk about all these other bets in racing being not allowed, if I may put it that way, because they're not part of racing. I know that I've read on various places that they'd like to stop sort of soccer bets and those type of things. How do you guys attack something like that, and how do you see something like that?
Well, there are a number of revenue streams that currently exist, as you correctly mentioned, that are under threat. And in terms of the DTI report, pool betting on sports, it suggested that that is the domain of the lottery or the lotto.
Yeah.
And we have obviously been very successfully, led by Phumelela, very successfully been betting on sports pools. And I'm referring, of course, to the Soccer 6, the Soccer 4, the Soccer 10, Soccer 13,
Which
etc.
were all started by racing, actually.
Correct. That these have become very important revenue streams. And if these were to come under pressure from a legislative perspective, then we would find ourselves in an even more difficult situation. Obviously, one of the ways of reducing our dependency on our local totalisated turnovers was to explore the opportunities internationally. And this started off with the guidance of Brian Mell and Derek Weed all those years ago, and the work has been admirably carried on by John Stewart and his Phumelela International team on behalf of racing in South Africa, Kenilworth Racing, Gold Circle, etc., selling our picture abroad. And the revenues that this brings to the bottom line now is very meaningful. And obviously in the same year that the totalisated turnover has suddenly dipped, we've also seen a massive strengthening of the rand, which has curtailed in rand terms that revenue we've received from overseas. So that has added to our woe. That may be short term. I'm not sure if you have a crystal ball as to where the rand may eventually go, but the reality of the situation is that the return on our investments this year has not been great. The international revenue has dropped by some 20 to 22% as a result of the strengthening rand against the pound, and totalisated turnovers are down. So it's all looking quite bleak out there for us. And obviously this is the reason why we need to become a little bit more aggressive, I think. So coming back to your question, from a legislator's perspective, we need to defend our actions. One of the areas of our focus is to improve our relationships with the authorities, in particular with the KwaZulu-Natal Gaming Board. The regulations that were promised to us some years ago have not been forthcoming. And as a consequence, we've not been able to open branches, etc. But more about that in a moment.
Yeah, let's talk about that in a moment, because we're going to go and have a short break and have a look at what our advertisers got to say. Magic Millions. Right, well, 4 winners from Magic Millions. Sir Frenchie now won 2 out of 3. Touch of Magic. That was the first timer. Street Flyer and Shisanyama. Shisanyama very well bred as well, all from Australia. We're going to go and have a look at Touch of Magic winning. Let's go and see this. This was a very, very impressive first-time winner by Sepoy, trained by Paul Lafferty from the Magic Million sales. And she was an expensive filly. Let's go and pick her up.
Casablanca Queen on the stand side. 400 metres to go. The first-timer, Rose Hill, has the call by a half. Flamboyant got a rails run to the inside. Black Biscuits trying to hunt them down, got a length to make up on the right-hand side. Rose Hill at the 300-metre marker. Flamboyant now applies pressure. Black Biscuits got a length to make up, and Touch of Magic is starting to unwind between runners. Here comes Touch of Magic with a sweeping run the last 100 metres, and Touch of Magic goes on powerfully. Here's Touch of Magic with a Touch of Magic on debut. Rose Hill second, then came Flamboyant and Black Biscuit.
Well, there you go. Magic Million sales graduate, Touch of Magic, $75,000 she cost, and she's certainly a proper runner with a proper pedigree. But Graham, getting back to where you were talking about getting a better relationship with the authorities, is that what it's all about?
Well, it's one of the challenges that we face is over the last number of years, we've been unable to expand our network here. We believe that over the last number of years, this could have cost us as much as 100 million rand in turnover, totalisated turnover, which equates to about 16 million rand to the bottom line. And the reason for that is the regulations were never published, so the KZN Gaming Board would never allow us to open new branches. And this has impacted very negatively on our business. We're now hearing that the regulations will be published on the 1st of April, so that's a positive step forward. But outside of that, we believe that there's obviously tremendous scope for us to get onto a better footing with all of our regulators. we're facing a barrage of challenges from the bookmakers, particularly here in KwaZulu-Natal. Not all of them, but many of the bookmakers are applying pressure on the KwaZulu-Natal Gaming Board to not allow us to be able to do certain things. I guess it's as a result of the current Teletrack spat that they've adopted this aggressive attitude towards Gold Circle. So basically we're at war. We're facing a whole lot of challenges that we need to address, and it was time, again, for Exco, the executive management of Gold Circle, and the board to get together to set out a game plan. Now, we've come away with a number of initiatives that we intend to follow through on. We have another Gold Circle board meeting on Thursday, the 23rd, when I believe you will be on your way to Dubai, or in Dubai already, enjoying yourself in the sunshine, waiting for the...
I've got nothing to do with it.
So while you're doing that and having fun in Dubai,
I'll be
we have another
about
Gold
you.
Circle board meeting to ratify and sign off on these initiatives. And as I say, hopefully they'll be far-reaching enough for us to be able to turn the business around and for the benefit of racing in KwaZulu-Natal and, of course, the entire country, because we all need each other. We bet on each other's products. It's what we sell overseas, and we need to ensure that racing and breeding, and, of course, the breeding industry in KwaZulu-Natal is also under enormous threat. And the numbers are dwindling, and that is another problem in itself. So there's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of challenges to be confronted. And in order to do that, you've got to get proactive. You've got to probably step out of your comfort zone. Not probably, you definitely have to step out of your comfort zone. And in some instances, perhaps we've sat back a little bit and taken things and absorbed some of the pressure and tried to act nicely and play friendly and not play the men and play the ball. But I think it's time that Gold Circle came out of itself and sort of became a little more aggressive in the manner in which it's conducting its business.
It obviously leads me to the question, we all in the same business. Why are we fighting with each other? We're all trying to make a living out of horse racing and betting. Okay, so horse racing is the bottom line. That's the theatre. Betting is the byproduct that actually keeps it all going. Why is there this conflict? Surely everyone's getting a decent slice of the cake. Why would people want to fight about it?
Well, I think that initially, firstly, there's no need to. I mean, to answer your question, if it was utopia, we shouldn't be fighting with each other. We should be working together to find a positive way forward for the industry. But clearly the launch and the growth and the expansion of the open bet initially started to attack our intellectual property, which was the totalizator. For many, many years, the bookmakers and the tote lived happily side by side. There may have been an element of the open bet from those days, but clearly there was a lot more aggression on the bookmaker side to grow that revenue at the expense of the totalizator. And one of the rationales to one of the strategies to combat that is obviously, if you can't beat them, join them. And that's why Track and Ball and Betting World exists today, in order to allow the operators to play in that mix. So ultimately, though, many of the bookmakers have reduced their revenues on horse racing because of their flexibility and their licenses allowing them to bet on pretty much any contingency. So they've been able to grow their sports betting business, their numbers business, and it's incredible the amount of turnover that's being done on numbers and the number of lotto draws that have been introduced to satisfy the demand for that type of bet. And all of this has come at the expense of horse racing. And as a consequence, we find ourselves under pressure. Now, it's interesting that you mentioned the attack on the sports pools, but it's not just the attack on the sports pools that the operators are conducting. It's also other revenue streams that have been there for many years, like the 3% of the punters' tax that is returned to Gold Circle, that is under pressure. We find it hard to believe, if that's going to come under pressure, then why is horse racing being taxed at all when other sports betting codes are not being taxed? I mean, that in itself is not a very level playing field. So there are a lot of balls in the air, and there are a lot of challenges facing us. And by the way, these are not unique to KwaZulu-Natal. These are challenges that will have to be faced all over the country. And in that regard, we do work together as operators to ensure that we address the concerns of the regulators, the concerns of the legislators in a similar way.
Friday night racing brings me to that. It's supposedly a great revenue stream from international point of view. Is that still so? Is that working?
Absolutely. The revenue streams that we receive from overseas are what's keeping us going right now. Let's be very clear on that. And that's the message we've always given to our stakeholders. And sometimes we have to inconvenience ourselves in order to satisfy our international customers. And we do that as best we can. It's not just Friday night racing, it's other days as well. But Friday nights in particular, the French and the Turkish, our Turkish clients like to take. But it goes beyond that. We stage additional races on a Wednesday to satisfy also. The French have become very, very big clients of South Africa, as of course are the English, in terms of the agreements that we have in place with them. So it's a mix on all of our meetings. All of our race meetings have become important for the international market. And one of the reasons that they really love South African racing is the fact that we deliver product 365 days a year, Christmas Day being the only exception. And that is, of course, very appealing to them. And whatever we do, whatever else we do, we have to ensure that we maintain our relationships with the international community. And I think that we are doing successfully. Obviously, the exchange rate is something that is a little beyond everybody's control.
Graham, it will change because I think that because of Brexit and
well, it was Brexit that firmed the rand.
Trump and all these type of things have strengthened the rand. In fact, it's just weakened the other currencies. But it will change. Don't worry. I think you don't have to worry on that basis.
Well, except when you're filling your petrol tank. There's always every bit of news pleases somebody. So I think the problem with the exchange rate is not that we were. That we are desirous of seeing a weak rand out there, because the economy is made up of so many different aspects that obviously when you're exporting a weak rand is really great. When you're importing it's not so great. But the fact of the matter is that last year through the months of April and May, when you're doing the budgeting, the rand was at round about 22 rand to the pound. Yeah. And it was reasonable to do your budgets on that basis. And then came Brexit, and almost immediately after the new financial year had begun, the rand firmed initially to 17 and then through 16, and that's where it's been hovering since then. So that's quite a 30% drop in your anticipated revenues countrywide.
All right, well, let's move on from that. We now know where you guys are going, but in the immediate future, obviously Champion Seasons has become your speciality, because from being the racing executive, you're now the marketing executive at Gold Circle, and Champion Season is, after all, the flagship of KwaZulu-Natal racing. How's it looking?
No, looking really good. We've got to, everybody's enjoying coming to work because we're on the threshold of Champion Season. And that's so important because everybody that works for Gold Circle and everybody that has anything to do with Gold Circle know that this has been a difficult trading year. And morale is important. It's important that we keep everybody up to their task. But Champion Season does that all by itself. We love Champion Season, and the fact that we're approaching Champion Season and the visiting horses are making their plans to come into town. We're up and running with meetings with all the sponsors. Of course, Vodacom being the flagship sponsor of the Vodacom Durban July, but all of the other big race days. We're up and running with the planning of these days, and we are looking forward to another tremendous Champion Season. I think that we've got some new plans that are still not yet announced, which hopefully we'll be able to reveal in April, which could add another measure of excitement to Champion Season. But we're expecting the racing to be as competitive and as exciting as always. And this is a very special time of the year for everybody that works at Gold Circle, but I think also for our racing fans around the province. We have tremendous racing fans in KwaZulu-Natal. They're knowledgeable racing fans. And they too get very excited when it comes to this time of the year. The prospect of seeing the best horses in South Africa going head to head with each other, I think, is always very exciting.
Have you, as a preface, have we worked out a theme for the July yet? Have you got any idea? Can you give us a little inkling as to what we should be doing?
The theme has been published, James. I'm surprised you haven't gone through it. I don't have it with me, but it's the...
I do have I know the theme, but I'm asking you the question because I'd like you to put it out there, okay?
Yeah, it's it's the colour of magic.
Yeah.
It's all about magic and it's about colour. And once again, Ken Twaddell came up with a fantastic poem to back up the theme. It's already created quite a stir in the fashion world. We're up and running, obviously, with all of the fashion elements of Vodacom Durban July, leading into the shows that happen here at Greyville, the Young Designers competition, the open competition, then, of course, the Invited Designers competition. And this is all part and parcel of the Vodacom Durban July buzz. It has become a really important part of it. And so they're all in they're getting themselves prepared for champion season, and they've really, from all accounts, the fashion industry has embraced this year's theme for the Vodacom Durban July in a big way.
Just obviously, I'm not sure if this is your portfolio anymore, but I know that you keep a keen interest on what sort of big horses are coming up. What have we got planned this year? Have we got Captain America and horses like that coming? What does it?
Yeah,
look
obviously it's disappointing that a Whiskey Baron is not coming to Durban, but he's going on to campaign on the international stage. But Captain America will fly the flag for Brett Crawford. Sean Terry, as always, is playing his cards very close to his chest in terms of his artillery that he's bringing to KwaZulu-Natal. But the fact of the matter is that all of the big guns have booked their stabling and have made their travel arrangements. Vaughan Marshall, Justin Snaith, Joey Ramsden, and Mike Bass, Candice Bass, and then obviously Brett Crawford himself, and so it goes. These guys are all preparing for their annual raid on KwaZulu-Natal, but many are playing it close to their chest in terms of who's going for what, in terms of their strategies. So it's going to be interesting to watch it unfold. But I think that aside from the disappointment of perhaps not seeing Whiskey Baron, well, certainly not seeing Whiskey Baron in action, I think the rest of the stars will be around.
And Johannesburg trainers, have they booked stables or are they going to raid?
No, I think the indications are that they're going to raid. We all know that Mike de Kock now has given up his stables at Summerveld on a permanent basis, but he's retaining obviously 20 or 30, I think it is, just for the season. Nathan Kotzen is going to hopefully grab the opportunity to go out on his own and remain based in KwaZulu-Natal. And Mike sort of said to me that he may end up being Nathan's biggest client going forward. So we will have a presence of the red and white silks and other silks of his patrons that we've become accustomed to. But he's rationalising his business, as you know. And Matthew, I think he stands on the threshold of perhaps taking over the South African operation sometime in the near future. And he's done a fantastic job and is a wonderful ambassador for Mike de Kock. And Mike can be very proud of Matthew in the manner in which he presents himself and conducts himself. Obviously, we're sad to lose the permanent presence of Mike de Kock, but for every door that's closed, another will open. Shane Humby's on his way to KwaZulu-Natal on a permanent basis.
Oh, he was a KwaZulu-Natal
He was a
trainer.
KZN boy as well. And so these things are ever evolving. But to sum it all up, I think we're really looking forward to Champion Season 2017. We think it's going to be an absolute cracker again.
Well, let's use the word from the theme and let's hope that there's a lot of magic during the Champion Season. Graham, thank you so much for joining us and giving us the lowdown of what's going on.
Thank you, James. Thanks for the opportunity.
Graham Hawkins, as usual, erudite and informative, and we love to have him on the show because we do get the lowdown from him. One day we'll throw him a curveball, but he's very difficult to do that too. He plays it better than Jacques Collis. From us at Winning Ways, until next week, have a great week's racing. Remember, Cheltenham, a couple of sales, and a very, very interesting week ahead.
Your world of winners is now online at www.teletrack.com. Simply subscribe to log into your account from any mobile device in South Africa and access a wide variety of content from our membership package options. Listen in via a live audio stream, catch live racing locally and internationally, or view a wide variety of Teletrack magazine shows to stay informed and updated on the go at any time. It's never been easier. Go to teletrack.com now.